Up next is Fortistar North Tonawanda LLC, site plan review for construction of concrete slab to house shipping container structures, to house computer equipment, also pads and transformers for a power distribution.
Can you guys just review the project, in general terms, and then we'll open it up to questions from the board?
Okay, very good. My name is David Fusiano. I'm the architect for the project. As shown on the site plan, there's a series of concrete pads that are projected to be poured, and the shipping containers used to house computer equipment for data storage and data mining. There's an additional building structure shown on the plan that would be housing electrical switchgear. Since we've met last time, we did meet with the county. The county approved it contingent upon two issues. One, your fire marshal, fire department approving a fire safety plan for it. And then secondarily, there was an issue of the actual use, which Amy Fisk, the county planner, brought up, as well as your building inspector. And I believe that the city attorney has had conversations with DigiHost, my client, and I believe that use issue is resolved. And then again, the fire marshal, we have not currently met with him yet, but there's plans to after the approval process, site plan approval process. One bit of misinformation that's out there is about battery backups that would be in the various shipping container structures, and that they would pose a fire threat. That there is no actually battery backup. That if the power needs to go back to the grid, all of the various computer equipment would power down for whatever period of time necessary to really service the larger power needs. And then once that need is no longer there, then the computer equipment would return to full service. There were some other issues that are resolved by revising the drawing, clearly identifying the fence that would be a secondary fence that would go along the eastern property line, along the front property line, that would include a gate that would have a Knox box access for first responders. And then again, it would completely surround all of the shipping container structures. The switchgear building would be built more conventionally, utilizing the post-frame construction, or what a lot of people call pole barns, which would have the same kind of metal siding and metal roofing that, in essence, the main power generating plant has. Because there's other issues about creating uniformity, so all the shipping containers will be painted to match. And then, like I said, other issues were just about the structures themselves. That between each one of the pairs of shipping containers would be a series of platforms and an access set of stairs that would allow the technicians access to the multiple levels of the shipping containers, go in, service the equipment, and leave. There would be no occupation for any period of time other than to service the equipment of any of the shipping containers. And switchgear building would have a little bit more occupancy, but still very limited, just assuring that the equipment's working properly, and if necessary, service if it's not. Any other questions about that? Probably could really have any of the Fortistar people talk about the actual practical applications.
Well, I have a question, since we're dealing with the units themselves. Now, you're saying shipping containers. I think most people have a negative view of the looks of shipping containers as rusted out, sitting in a dock somewhere. Can you assure us that, I know you had said they're going to be painted, but they're housing a great deal of expensive equipment, so those will be maintained and not just let go as our perceptions of those are?
Almost self-evident that you're exactly right. The cost of the equipment housed in there would almost require the ongoing maintenance of these buildings. So certainly, they're all going to be very weatherproof and security, so that the paint color, I guess, hasn't been decided, but the idea that they'd all
It's going to match the
uniform.
existing building, right? It'll match. It's going to match the building.
Okay.
It has been decided, just wasn't told to me, I guess. So, yes.
So they're not going to say Maersk and Sealand and Half-Tech Lloyd and stuff like that on them?
No, you won't see that. It'll be very consistent, and it's actually very high-tech design. It's going to look very nice.
Are you from Fortistar?
Yes.
Step up to the mic and just give us your name again, I'm sorry.
I'm Dan Martano, the plant manager.
Dan, if you could answer a question for us. I know we're all a little bit fuzzy on this, but I believe at the last meeting, you said Fortistar would be involved, and now we're of the impression that Fortistar will be selling the property, and it'll be a new company running everything. Am I correct in that, or?
Actually, that's a question for the higher up guy.
Well, we just, we're hearing two different things, and,
My name is Tom Gesicki, and actually I said that last meeting.
you're right, Tom, you did.
I did, yes, so I'm gonna own that statement relative to that piece. The intention is to sell it to DigiHost. DigiHost is not in the power industry, and in fact, we use a system of contractors, and we have since the beginning of time to operate that facility. We have a contractual relationship with DigiHost. If we do sell it to them, and the sale's completed, we would still continue to manage it for them, and they will manage the new facility on the land they'll own along with the power plant under a contractual relationship. If the sale is completed, we've also had some discussions about whether or not we will continue to own it, and they would just lease the property in front of us. So all those issues are still ongoing, but we've agreed to work jointly to develop this project, and we're confident that either we'll own the power plant and they'll own this new facility, or they'll own everything. But in any case,
You'll be involved.
but we will be involved, absolutely. And myself, contractually, we will continue.
Okay, if the board agrees with my assessment, let me know either way. But I understand that you're under a 60-day review from the state before this can even happen if we approve it. Is that correct? That nothing can happen until the state approves this?
That is a true statement, yes.
Okay.
So,
And I'm also under the time frame that you have is September 13th of this year?
September.
Is the 60th day in that process?
Yes, so the 60-day period began on July 12th.
All right,
So 60 days from July 12th.
When is our next meeting? Our problem is, to be very, very honest with you, we reviewed the seeker, and there is so many things that we found wrong with the seeker that we don't think going line by line and changing everything is the way to go. We think you need to take a good look at the seeker and complete it in its proper fashion. Because again, it's a requirement of us to make sure that seeker is complete, filled out correctly, and answers all the questions for obvious reasons. And our discussion was we would much prefer to see that seeker done correctly, and we will act on that seeker and the project at our next meeting, which should fall within that 60 days.
September 13th, because Labor Day is in there.
The 13th?
Labor Day is the 6th.
All right, so would the board entertain a special meeting for the week prior to that in September to look at the project in total again?
Instead of doing it on the 13th, do it like.
Yeah, because that'll be too late for them.
Yeah.
7th or the
And-
8th.
Are you talking about September 7th?
September.
7th or 8th.
Well, it doesn't have to be the 7th, it could be any day.
7th
that-
would be council, so it would be.
The
You
8th.
can't do it on a Tuesday. Right.
Yes.
Does the 8th kind of work for everybody, or the 9th, either one?
Not a Wednesday for me.
Wednesday or Thursday.
In fact, the 8th, I think it's got to be the 8th for me.
It's gotta be the 8th.
What day is the 8th?
A
The
Wednesday.
Wednesdays.
Yeah, I
Is
can't
that
do
okay?
Oh, wait, okay.
And again, I want to state, it's not a reflection on the project at all. It's just that, I don't know if you looked at the seeker, it's very misplaced in a lot of the answers on that. So we would ask that you go over that with a fine-tooth comb and make sure it gets done correctly. Because that's an opportunity, we need to do that.
We have no problem with that at all.
Okay.
And actually, we appreciate your willingness to have another meeting, and we certainly respect where you're coming
Right.
from, and sure, we would happily do.
So what we would do tonight is table, unless there's questions on the project itself. Does anybody have any questions on On the project itself,
I'm just looking at that plan in front of us, and I'm seeing, and the one that we were given also, and there's, looks like containers that are in red, and then there's ones that are blue.
that blue and gray,
Those
yeah.
are the
Right, I
phases.
think I asked that question last time. The
Those are the phases.
blue one is phase one, and
Okay.
the red ones are phase two.
Okay.
And the blue building that is the switchgear building is also, the larger 20 by 120 building is shown as phase one. That's really the primary structure that needs to get built before, it's the primary point of power distribution through the site. So that would really be the first thing constructed.
Okay, so if you go through both phases, there would be a combination of possibly 15 container setups, based on what's there, and my math,
Yes.
okay? I just am trying to
Okay.
get a feel for the layouts.
Mr. Lecterman?
So these drawings here don't depict and give me a good perspective of how it's gonna look from Erie Avenue. So is it possible to submit architectural renderings so we can see what it's
I
gonna
think they're
look
there.
like?
I think
We did
they're-
have one.
You
Yeah,
should have them in your
Yeah,
packet.
We did.
we did.
There is something that we need in our packet.
Okay.
This
that
is essentially
part
the
of it-
view from what will be the new gate piece. And this is kind of an aerial view showing the various structures as well as the existing power plant.
That grow this way. yeah.
Oh,
Up
right,
and down.
right, and this is a flat-on normal architectural elevation from
What
Erie
you see
Avenue.
from Erie
With,
Avenue.
with the berm removed, though. That's, part of this would
There's a
actually be
berm at the road.
truncated by the berm. And actually, because of the mature nature of the landscape on the berm, a lot of this
Yeah.
won't be
You won't-
seen.
Right, you won't see
There
it.
it is. That's what we got. We
Okay.
got the same
I
thing.
didn't
Yeah.
bring it.
Yeah. We do have it.
Any other questions? Again, we'll have a time to review it in detail at the next meeting. I don't want to. Go ahead, Carl.
So, Luke, it is confirmed that this is appropriate for the zone that this project is in?
Yes, currently,
It is.
yep, currently it is.
Okay, all right, and then also, have you met with the fire department?
We have not met with them yet. No.
I thought we got some.
So that would be
I-
something to do in the next,
They have reviewed the capacity with the water, which they said it's more than enough. Mike's got an email from the chief. It's more than enough, but some of it was based on lithium batteries, which you're not gonna have there anyway, so. But they say there's a 10-inch line there that's more than enough to fight any fire there.
Okay, good.
In-
I passed by. and
That was
I-
upstairs.
Do you want to hear,
Yeah.
pass it down, so you can read it if you'd like.
In addition, I actually have, just this morning, spoke to the city engineer relative to grading and drainage, and both confident that we'll be able to provide all the necessary drainage within the existing structures, so there won't be any additions of retention or detention ponds.
And she did confirm also that you would be under 1 acre, so we would not need a SWIP plan.
Yes, when the seeker was filled out, I think the assumption was kind of grading overall perimeter line, which was the reason in the seeker form was filled out to say over 2 acres. But when you actually take each individual pad site, the property, the disturbed area will be less than 1 acre. So therefore, SWIPs or stormwater prevention plans would not be
And
required.
that was one of our key questions on the seeker, so, that's why you gotta get in there and really
Right.
take care of it.
Certainly, we'll revise that, certainly.
Anything else, Carl?
No.
Rob? Okay, if there's nothing else, okay, go ahead.
I actually have a question for you. Is there, are you gonna be able to give us an idea, was there anything else in there? Can you give us a list of something that we should look at that maybe we overlooked on that form?
Yeah, well,
I don't wanna show up and assuming we did everything right, and then you say,
I
no,
think you'll be able to
look at
figure it
this.
out, but
Like
we'll
one
go
second.
over it with you, yeah, I think we'll go over it with you.
One section was regarding, if
What?
Acreage.
it butted up to a
How close is this property?
Yeah,
hazardous
Is it
site.
touching the
Hazardous
site?
site.
Right.
And that would be butting up to say Durez.
Oh, well, it's over.
Okay.
Not even close.
No?
No.
Well, it's within 2,000 feet.
2,000 feet
Yeah.
is the regular.
2,000
it's-
feet.
Yeah,
More
not
than
even
that.
close.
Those are some of the things that you need to look at.
But
Okay.
we can show you, what we found in our look at it.
All right. And then, just second question is there anything that we can do, we'll table this get the right stuff that you need. Is there anything that we can do to continue any type of work to prepare for this, since it is approved for the right zone?
That's
Does it-
not really up to
I
us.
don't hear.
That
anything
isn't up to us. I mean, again, that's for you to meet with the building inspector, and if there's any kind of legal questions, Luke.
I mean, the permit was issued for the electrical, first part of the electrical work, right? For the,
It was not
for the
approved.
pipe, it wasn't approved.
No.
But was that on the basis that it wasn't allowed in that zone?
No, there's no site plan approval. How do we issue an electrical permit for site that hasn't been approved yet?
Well, isn't it two different phases? It's running the pipe basically and then running the electric, so why can't they run the pipe? I don't get it.
If we issue any permit for this particular site in any shape, way, or form, it has been my understanding, because I got caught doing this before, it would deem an approval by our department.
Can you two work that out after, tomorrow or whatever, so to give them an answer? Talk to Luke and the building inspector, stay in touch with them, and they'll give you, we can't approve that, we can't give you that approval, but they can, or can't, whatever. To do what?
Declare ourselves lead agency since this hasn't gone out. and it isn't going out.
Yeah, we can declare ourselves lead agent, we might as well do that tonight, that won't affect it either way, so I will entertain, and let's, any more questions before we move ahead with that?
I guess, I know we talked about it a little bit upstairs, about the computers and, the disposal. There are
Really not our burden.
I know, I'm just curious as to what would be, the plan
Well,
for.
we have a hazardous waste plan at our facility for, batteries, light bulbs, things like that, and that would end up falling into that plan if we have to
Does that
change
involve,
them out.
does that involve the city? The
No.
city?
No,
Private-
we have a separate service.
Private
for that.
private service.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So you guys take care of